26, a new question, divine beatitude. Hope you're having a great day as things warm up around here. Let's dive into it. Divine beatitude, starting question 26 here. After considering all that pertains to the unity of the divine essence, we come to treat the divine beatitude. Concerning this, there are 4 points of inquiry. Number 1, whether beatitude belongs to God. 2, in regard to what is God called blessed, does this regard his active intellect? 3, whether he is essentially the beatitude of each of the blessed. And 4, whether all other beatitude is included in the divine beatitude. Article 1, whether beatitude belongs to God. Objection 1 from Larry. It seems that beatitude does not belong to God. For beatitude, according to Boethius, is a state made perfect by the aggregation of all good things. But the aggregation of good things has no place in God, nor has composition. Therefore, beatitude does not belong to God. Of course, we know the answer. We are toggling forth always between divine and human perspective, and the aggregation being human perspective. Our objection to further beatitude or happiness is the reward of virtue, according to the philosopher, but reward does not apply to God, as neither does merit. Therefore, neither does beatitude. It's going to be the same basic concept. See how much you're learning here on the Daily Summa, folks. On the contrary, here's the argument from authority from Thomas. Further, the apostle says, which in his times he shall show, who is the blessed and only Almighty, the King of kings and the Lord of lords. Okay. Now let's hear the logical response. I answer that beatitude belongs to God in a very special manner. For nothing else is understood to be meant by the term beatitude than the perfect good of an intellectual nature, which is capable of knowing that it has a sufficiency of the good which it possesses, to which it is competent, that good or ill may befall, and which can control its own actions. All of these things belong in a most excellent manner to God, namely, to be perfect and to possess intelligence. Whence beatitude belongs to God in the highest degree. I think we saw that one coming. That's my guess. Let's hear his reply to objection 1 and flesh this out a little bit, I suppose you would call it. Reply to objection 1, aggregation of good is in God after the manner not of composition but of simplicity. For those things which in creatures is manifold pre-exist in God, as was said above in question 4, article 2, question 13, article 4, in simplicity and unity. Reply to objection 2, it belongs as an accident to beatitude or happiness to the reward of virtue so far as anyone attains to beatitude, even as to be the term of generation belongs accidentally to a being, so far as it passes from potentiality to act. As then God has being, though not begotten, so he has beatitude, although not acquired by merit. Again, divine human perspective. We collect, we receive grace, but God is the all-sufficient being. Again, guys, we are not trying to, this is a catechesis for beginners. This is a meditation upon the things of God. Let's listen to this meditatively with your heart, not with an intellect trying to discover certain factoids. But along the way, you will discover and grow in your knowledge. But this is a heart exercise here. Article 2, whether God is called blessed in respect of his intellect. Objection 1. It seems that God is not called blessed in respect to his intellect. For beatitude is the highest good, but God is said to be in God. But good is said to be in God in regard to his essence, because good has reference to being, which is according to essence, according to Boethius. Therefore, beatitude is also said to be in God in regard to his essence and not to his intellect. That's the objection. Because the question was whether God's called blessed in respect to his intellect. Of course, Thomas is going to come and say that in God, intellect, will, and being are one and the same. Objection to further, beatitude implies the notion of end. Now, the end is the object of the will, as also is the good. Therefore, beatitude is said to be in God with reference to his will, not with reference to his intellect. Again, going to be the same answer. On the contrary, Gregory says, he is in glory, who whilst he rejoices in himself needs not further praise. To be in glory, however, is the same as to be blessed. Therefore, since we enjoy God in respect to our intellect, because vision is the whole of the reward, as Augustine says, it would seem that beatitude is said to be in God in respect to his intellect. Now let's hear the intellectual or the rational argument. I answer that, respondio. Beatitude, as stated above, Article 1, is the perfect good of an intellectual nature. Thus, it is that, as everything desires the perfection of its nature, intellectual nature desires naturally to be happy. Now, that which is most perfect in any intellectual nature is the intellectual operation, by which, in some sense, it grasps everything. Whence the beatitude of every intellectual nature consists in understanding. Now, in God, to be and to understand are one and the same thing. Ah, behold, honey. Differing only in the manner of our understanding them, beatitude must therefore be assigned to God in respect of his intellect, as also to the blessed, who are called blessed by reason of the assimilation to his beatitude. The assimilation to his beatitude. Again, isn't that a most wondrous meditation? And don't forget, guys, this is all directed towards prayer. So if you're hearing this and it's not making you shout high hosannas, pray that the Lord may expand your heart, open the eyes of your mind. Reply to objection 1. This argument proves that beatitude belongs to God. Not that beatitude pertains essentially to him under the aspect of his essence, but rather under the aspect of his intellect. This argument proves, which argument? Reply to objection 1. Oh, this one. This argument proves, talking about the first argument from Larry, that beatitude belongs to God, not that beatitude pertains essentially to him under the aspect of his essence, but rather the aspect of his intellect. Not sure what that means. Let's keep rolling along. Reply to objection 2. Since beatitude is a good, it is the object of the will. Now, the object is understood as prior to the act of a power. Whence, in our manner of understanding, divine beatitude precedes the act of the will at rest in it. This cannot be other than the act of the intellect, and thus beatitude is to be found in an act of the intellect. In God, Adonai Echad, in God all is one, and we receive from his plenitude doled out to us in this little crazy thing called space-time that we're involved in. Guys, that's the end of the page. Someday I'm going to hit this and the camera's going to fall. Tomorrow we go into Article 3, whether God is the beatitude of each of the blessed. Whether God is the beatitude of each of the blessed. That's a nice one. And it's also a little bit of a short page. All right, guys, same time. Well, not the same time, same place tomorrow. Everybody remember, this is all straw and designed to bring you into deeper prayer and communion with the Lord. Go pray and have a wonderful